This is where the fun begins.
Hello there. How's it going?
Hey everyone, Hybrid Toy Reviews here, and today we're taking a look at the Star Wars The Black Series, Captain Enoch and Night Trooper 2-pack from the awesome series Star Wars Ahsoka. This is a Walmart exclusive 2-pack that has very recently dropped here in the US. It retails for $45, but the day after it went live, they've actually been running it on sale for $35. It's some sort of Walmart con, competing with Prime Day week kind of thing, except it's still going on somehow. But it is just a really, really great price at $45 to begin with. I mean, come on, for $35, that's a figure plus $10. That's deluxe. And there's a lot of really, really cool stuff going on here. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into the review. I'm super excited to get these guys out of the box. And here is Enoch and the Night Trooper in their package. I believe this is my first 2-pack in the new packaging style. So let's get into it with a thorough, in-depth look at the packaging. You have your Black Series logo up above a ginormous window showing Enoch and the Night Trooper and their accessories off nicely. You have Captain Enoch and the Night Trooper in light blue, along with the light blue stripe across the front saying Star Wars Ahsoka. You have warning, 4+ Hasbro. The multi-packs don't really fit in the numbering, so the mural on the side is actually just the two characters stacked, and it says Captain Enoch and Night Trooper down below. This side of the box features your wraparound window, your wraparound blue stripe, and your Black Series logo. Around back, you have really large images of the art that was collaged on the side of the box, your Black Series logo, their names again, bios in varying languages, pause and read whichever language best applies to you. There is a ton of legal stuff going on down below with Disney and Hasbro logos, barcode, more legal stuff, hanger tab up top, very standard run-of-the-mill stuff. It's looking really, really good, and I'm really loving this new packaging style. Without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, here's Captain Enoch and the Night Trooper out of the packaging, and as always, we're going to start with the accessories. So Captain Enoch comes with a unique blaster pistol. Now, there are elements of it that remind me of the Death Trooper pistol, except with like a muzzle attachment, and it is in a dark gray plastic with some gold accents. It is very, very nice looking, and even though it's been customized, I do get heavy Imperial vibes from it. He features a working holster, which is sculpted onto his hip, and there's no straps. You just push the blaster into it, and it holds it nice and securely. So that works very well for him. The Night Trooper comes with your standard Stormtrooper E11. This is the newer one with the longer banana clip and the flashlight on the side. And this is a first for this sculpt, being cast in a lighter gray plastic with some hints of sparkles in it. Honestly, not a huge fan of that choice, but I guess ultimately I don't hate it because focus, come on. I guess ultimately I don't hate it because, like, I'm guessing it's older, it's not as polished, and but it definitely looks a little rough, and this gray plastic might be replacing that with a dark one at some point. There's no storage for the Night Trooper, so it just sets off to the side if he's not holding it, and that's all right. So I guess let's start with the one with the least amount of new, and if you were going to look at these, you would probably assume that that's the Night Trooper, because if they made it how I would have made it if I was Hasbro, there would have been a lot of reuse with some overlays. Not because that's better, but because it's cost effective. But that's not what they did, believe it or not. So we're going to set the Night Trooper out to the side and look at Captain Enoch. Captain Enoch here is recreated fantastically. I'm really, really liking what we're seeing here, and it is just a great looking figure. I do have a touch of slip on the black of the eye there. There's a little bit of gold that didn't get blacked over in like the corner of the eye. I think I'll be able to fix that with like a fine tip Sharpie just to come in and darken it out. There were some QC issues with the red Imperial cogs on the forehead, and mine are not as bad as some that I've seen. They are not perfectly aligned. Of course, that one's sitting a touch higher than the other one. I have seen some where they are really, really crooked. This is relatively close, and it's going to pass the squint test. My standardized preference of stick it on the shelf, take a step back, and like don't hyper focus on it. It'll look like Captain Enoch. I can get over a tiny misalignment of decos. He has the really awesome face sculpted in there, looking oh so good, otherwise surrounded by white Stormtrooper helmet. from the back of profile, you'd assume that it's just a Stormtrooper helmet. But, of course, he is a unique commander, and that's how you would tell him apart. It's a very, very well done sculpt. Something interesting to note is that there's actually no head sculpt underneath. It is a solid sculpted head. Doesn't make any difference to me one way or the other. I know some are probably celebrating to the Ewok gods for that one, but it looks really good. Otherwise, you'd probably be shocked to know that from the neck down, this is largely reuse. The chest overlay is new because all these cracks are sculpted in. There's a little bit of a lip to each and every one of them. But it's still just an ordinary Stormtrooper other than the back panel there. You got some different, controls other than what is ordinary. That's your ordinary Stormtrooper one on the back. And that's okay. I mean, I do like that they overlaid it and changed it because the overlays are relatively easy to modify. But the limbs have the gold kitsungi effect going on them. That's the ancient Japanese, a method of repair where they'd break pottery and then they would fuse it together with gold, and so all the cracks in the armor have been golded back together, and it's a really beautiful art form. And honestly, it checks Thrawn's boxes. I really liked this choice for the trooper designs in Ahsoka. But on Enoch here, it is just printed on. There's no sculpted in texture, and that's where we're going to talk on the Night Trooper. So these arms are Stormtrooper arms. The ab piece in there is actually Stormtrooper abs, and then the legs and the cod armor underneath are Stormtrooper, meaning all these cracks are just printed on. And the only really new thing going on here is actually the rubberized skirt. It's in a nice maroon color, same as what the undersuit is, and it just looks really good. The golds are very reflective, very nice, and everything else is kind of just in its plastic colors. And yeah, ultimately, it's just a really good looking Captain Enoch. And now we get into the Imperial Night Trooper. This guy came out amazing. Now, don't get me wrong, Enoch was cool, but somehow had less new going on than this. What I would have done were I Hasbro, and what I expected them to do, was for every one of these red wraps to be an overlay, something that they sculpted and then glued on. I expected this to be the Stormtrooper action figure that we already had, plus some painted on gold lines and some glued on red straps. And that is not what we got. Everywhere that you see a strap is a modification to an existing sculpt. And if you notice, the kitsungi gold effects are only done on places that have the red straps, meaning they're actually sculpted into the sculpt. So this is... There's a leg of reuse and a forearm of reuse. And that thigh is probably reuse. That's it. So this guy came out super cool. I love the helmet on him. However, we're going to talk about a QC issue in a second. It has a charcoal kind of gray coloring painted all over it with the kitsungi gold cracks coming through. Now this guy, as you see, he's got a little bit of a stroke eye going on there. It's just a little drooped. It's not actually drooped as much as it just wasn't filled in all the way to the top. I believe this is a running QC issue on every single one of these. Unlike the Enoch, who is kind of a, your results may vary, every one of these has this. It's a little annoying, but again, I'm just going to come in with the fine tip Sharpie marker and just touch in the top, and it'll be okay. Shouldn't have to, but it is what it is. All of the gold lines on that helmet are sculpted in and painted oh so nicely. It just looks super cool. This does have the head underneath of it, so it is a removable helmet. It's glued on, so not removable, but could be removed if you tried hard enough. The shoulder pads look super nice with the well-painted red stripes over the gold cracks, which are just cracked into the armor. And he just looks oh so cool. I'm just really liking what we're getting here. The Night Troopers are such a cool design, and I'm here for any and every Night Trooper that they decide they want to give us going forward. Honestly, I hope that we get a couple of them, and then I'll pick up duplicates of them, because they're all unique. I don't think there was really any two that were alike, but I wouldn't mind getting several different ones that have, the cracks sculpted in different directions. And then what I'd do is I'd do some boil and pop swaps and try and just make some kit bashes of them just to really fill out those ranks. I think in the end, we're probably going to end up with maybe 3 or 4 different ones. And then I think it's going to be on us to really fill out the ranks from there. And I'm okay with it. But this guy just looks oh so super cool. It's a really amazing design. And honestly, just the way it came out, he's potentially in the running for one of the figure of the years. Because the thing is at the base, it still is the 2020 Stormtrooper body, just with some modifications and retoolings going on. And, I mean, that's an amazing figure, and I mean, Hasbro absolutely cooked on it. And so any modification they decide to do going forward, as long as it's not modified in a way that's detrimental to the sculpt, I mean, how could you not like it? You know, it is the definitive Stormtrooper action figure. So, it's just oh so cool. I really like it. One thing, and I'll bring it back for a size comparison, but just to show here, something that you may note is when you bring in a Imperial Stormtrooper. I believe he has a silver teeth, so I believe this is one from the Force Unleashed, like 3-pack with Starkiller. And we'll bring in Enoch too. You'll see that these are a dingier white, like instead of the glossy, like high gloss white. You know, honestly, I can accept it. It's really just they used a different plastic, because this has like a satin kind of feeling to it, where this is glossy, and it's just a choice of different materials. I can forgive it on this instance, because I'm guessing that this is it's old Stormtrooper armor. This guy's fresh off the line. You know, he just got out of boot camp. He got issued his kit. This guy has been living in a crumbling Star Destroyer lost in wild space for like 15 years. Like, you know, he's been red taping his armor back together and kitsungiing it. Like, his armor is not polished white into spec. So I can forgive it on these figures, and I hope on all the Night Troopers going forward they stick to this formula of white plastic. But I hope that it doesn't become the main in the line going forwards, because it's definitely not going to work for a standard Stormtrooper or Clone Trooper or anything. But he just looks oh so cool. I know I keep saying it, but this is definitely one of those figures where you were just like, man, like I didn't know that I was going to like it so much. So to run through articulation, let's bring Enoch back because I didn't there. I am going to say they're going to be basically the same. The head on the Stormtrooper can look up that far in Enoch as well, since it's a different sculpt. That far down. And then, of course, with both of them, you'll have your side-to-side and pivot and twist and everything. The arms can come up to a T-pose on both, where there's a really good range butterfly joint. You can get 360 degrees on the shoulder. The shoulder pads are on the rings on the peg. The arms can bend more than 90 degrees and swivel at the elbow. 360 on the wrist, with the left hinging in and out and the right hinging up and down. Mid-torso ball joint allows you to crunch that far forward, that far back, get some side-to-side, and a ton of pivot. This is where you're going to start getting some variety on them, where on the Stormtrooper, the legs can go that far apart, and what you're going to find the difference is on Enoch, he has this heavy rubber skirt, and it has no slits in it, which makes it a traffic cone. So that's what you're getting out, which is unfortunate. Anything else related at the hip? This far forward, that far forward. I mean, it's not great with Enoch. There's an upper thigh rotation. Single jointed knees can go a little past 90 and swivel at the knee. The feet can point really far down, pretty far forward, and there's a forward-facing pin for rocker, allowing you to get him in some decently wide stances with both feet flat on the ground. To get him standing, let's do our size comparison. So we'll bring Enoch and the Stormtrooper together. Let's throw in the standard Imperial Stormtrooper again. Let's throw in the Grand Admiral Thrawn from the most recent wave, and their boss for all this time out there. And, I mean, that alone is just a really, really good-looking set right there. Scooting everyone to the left. Let's bring in some heroes of the show with Sabine from the first Ahsoka wave, and then from the newest wave, the prettier Ahsoka. And as you see, the girl characters are a little shorter. Neither of them are 6 foot, of course, and your Stormtroopers typically clock right at 6 foot, with Thrawn being a little more than 6 inches. I feel like that's accurate, and overall, I'm satisfied with how they scale. So at the end of the day, what do I think of Captain Enoch and the Night Trooper? Honestly, These are two really, really good action figures. I am immensely impressed with the Night Trooper. Enoch is a little frustrating with that rubber skirt, but I'm going to be honest, he doesn't do anything in the show. I don't know how to pose the guy. I don't know if what I'm doing right now is good or not. I'm honestly just gonna put the gun in his holster and have him at attention next to Thrawn on the shelf. Like, we don't know what this dude is yet going forward. He's a really, really cool design. He just didn't do anything. He just kept coming in, sir, this is what's going on. Sir, this is what's going on. And it's like, okay, cool. Like, he's basically an officer in armor. The Night Trooper is super cool. You know, we see a lot of different scenes with them in the show, as zombies, as still alive troopers. Like, I'm completely down for this type of variant Imperial Stormtrooper. I'm super amped on it, and I just can't wait for more. Something that people have noted is that the ribbons on him and the cracking on the Night Trooper match the armor that Ezra Bridger steals in the final scene of the show. So I kind of think that Hasbro's just covering their bases going forward. Not a unique take. Yakface has been saying it forever. But I think that we're going to end up seeing this sculpt reused there. However, I hope that all Night Troopers going forward aren't reuse. I hope that they all have a lot of unique sculpting, because they didn't have the wraps in the same places from character to character. They were all somewhat unique. So I'm just incredibly excited to finally have these on the shelf. The first of many Night Troopers, I hope. So keep an eye out. Hopefully Hasbro's dropping many going forward. We've been getting all sorts of Mando repaints between Target and Walmart as exclusives. I think that it's time to start phasing some of those out a little bit and start getting me some Night Trooper variants going forward. Because, I mean, come on. They are just oh so cool. That's it for now. Thanks a bunch for watching. It means a lot that you did. If you enjoyed, you should leave a like, comment, subscribe, all the end of video stuff. You know the drill. I'm going to go work on something else for now. So until next time, may the Force be with each and every one of you, and goodbye.